Prime Minister Mark Carney sure has made waves in the economic and global community by speaking very clearly and directly of what Canada will and will not tolerate moving forward. For me, watching that speech and then seeing the commentary after couldn't have been more like an INFJ door slam. Hi, and welcome back. It's January 22nd, 2026. I don't know where you've been if you have not heard or seen some kind of commentary or the speech itself, but Prime Minister Mark Carney sure has made waves in the economic and global community by speaking very clearly and directly of what Canada will and will not tolerate moving forward. For me, watching that speech and then seeing the commentary after couldn't have been more like an INFJ door slam. INFJ is, according to Myers-Briggs personality testing, INFJ is introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. They're often known as the advocate or the counselor. And Canada as a nation behaves as an INFJ, using a moral compass, feeling deeply, taking things very seriously, hearing, absorbing, taking on the problems of others to help resolve them, seeking harmony and peace, accepting things that are not necessarily in their own best interest in order to ensure the greater good over the longest haul. Really being mindful of the impacts for a collective. And so INFJ personality types will often find themselves in states of burnout because they set boundaries all the way along, very quietly, consistently, not loud and boastful or demanding, not power hungry, but more about the peacekeeping nature of it. So educating, informing. And so when Prime Minister Mark Carney shared that speech, it was an INFJ door slam. And he was very clear about the fact that this is not about a transition. This is about rupture. And if you know anything about behavior and counseling in relationships especially, rupture requires repair. Repair can only happen when both parties are showing up at a table with the same intentions and that it's reciprocal, that it's honest and authentic, and that the goal at the end is the same for both. One person can't want a relationship to happen and their version of a relationship looks like this, and another person have a relationship in mind that's totally opposite and expect that the two are going to come together. They're not. So really having clarity of what it is that each is getting out of a relationship and how to move forward in a way that one doesn't overpower the other and think that it's good for both. So Canada as a nation, as an INFJ personality type, has slammed the door. And in that door slam, what was said, what was felt, is that we no longer align our identity with your trajectory. We've gone along with it for so long. And all the while, making moves, shifting, taking in information, observing, discerning, aligning with others who are more similar to our identity, our needs, wants, desires authentically, who are more peacekeeping, harmony-seeking, idealistic, and yet realistic visionaries. And shifting away. And that door slam is irreversible to an old way of being and accepting things. It's gone on far too long. And the only way to move forward is to accept the new state of play, the new and evolving arena that we find ourselves in, and recognizing that while INFJs have appeared to be quiet and dissociated in some ways, what they really have been doing is connecting the dots, seeing beneath the surface, recognizing the patterns, and carving a new path forward. And it's one where peace continues to be the goal. But peace then includes the INFJ themselves, whereas in the past, they're willing to put their own needs to the side to ensure that the greater good is served, to avoid conflict. But once that door's been slammed, the recognition becomes that the INFJ's needs are on the table. And if those aren't met, then it's not a good deal. So having said that, I have two things to disclose. Number one, if you haven't already noticed, I'm Canadian, so I'm biased. And number two, I identify as an INFJ. I have taken the Myers-Briggs free personality test and paid for others in different courses. And it always comes back the same. Introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging. And so I fully understand the position that Canada as a nation is in. And again, another bias. Being a Canadian, born, raised here, all the values and ideals and the challenges, the difficulties, the wrongdoings, all of those things, fully acknowledging all parts of what it means to be Canadian. The biggest thing for me is having an interest of where we are not performing at our best, really looking at it, being honest with ourselves, making amends, and not according to the way that we want to make amends, but making amends by having open communication and discussion with those that we have harmed, with the environment that we are impacting, all of these things, to really being honest and connecting and then taking action and making change consistently. To me, that's what being Canadian means. It means being very transparent, very authentic, and seeking peace over power, and also ensuring that everyone is afforded the capacity to live their best lives. And that no decisions or regulatory bodies or organizations, their needs don't weigh heavier than human rights. And that's an ongoing effort. There continues to be challenges and struggles, but acknowledging that there's always going to be challenges and struggles. And then taking mindful, intentional action to address these things in communication with those who are being marginalized, who are experiencing disadvantages, and standing in that power of knowing that we can always do better. That's what makes us strong. That's what makes us Canadian. It's not trying to power over. It's ensuring that we share the power so that we can reach that balanced state of being. And if you invest in your people and you're considerate of their needs and ensure that those are met, that is your strength. That is your superpower. Because a nation just isn't the land that the people are on. It's the land and the people. And making sure that together they know their importance and their value and how their presence is the thing that is the superpower. It's not a person by themselves. It's not taking over something or taking something. It's methodical. It's consistent. It's open. It's willing to change. And to recognize when things need to change and then changing them. I think for me, as a Canadian, it is just incredibly sad and unnecessary to be in this position when we live in such abundance and prosperity with endless possibilities. And yet we are having these conversations and discussions about setting up stricter boundaries and isolating more, when we're in a time that suggests something so different, where coming together would be the smarter move. Having meaningful conversations, communicating in a way that is collaborative rather than confrontational. It just makes no sense, and yet here we are. So to my friends down in the States and people I haven't even met that I know do not agree with the things that are happening, we know you exist. We know you're out there. And we know that you're a greater population than the noise that just thinks that the louder you are, the more you'll get your way. We don't want that for either of us. Thanks for watching, everyone. For liking, sharing, subscribing, of course, commenting. And until next time, stay safe, stay connected, and we'll see you really soon. Bye.